I've literally turned my Xbox into a portable gaming station that can play over 30 plus systems. What nonsense is this? Alright, so I have just turned my Xbox Series S into the ultimate portable gaming system station type of a deal. It has an external monitor on it. It runs everything from the internal SSD and a Seagate expansion pack. It is able to run retail Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One games, backwards compatible 360 original Xbox games, as well as every slew of emulator that is available on the system, including PS2, GameCube, and Wii, and RetroArch, and N64. Like, you name it, it can do it. Except for Xbox 360. I haven't figured that one out quite yet, but this is just a really cool device, and it has been really fun messing with it. But I don't like to just talk about the end result more than showing the process of how to achieve it, as well, as you all know. So here was my journey. So to accomplish this project, I used a couple things. First of all, the Series S, of course. It's kind of the base of the entire project here that we're doing everything with the included controller. Next up, we have the Seagate 1TB SSD expansion. This is going to be for storing modern games, so Xbox One and Series S games that we want to include on our portable unit. And the last piece of the puzzle comes from the DepG 11.6-inch portable monitor here. So this is how we're going to get picture and everything while we're on the go. So there we go. So starting off with the dev mode side of things, I factory wiped this entire Series S so I can start from scratch. That way I could just make sure everything is going to do exactly what I want it to, but I decided to set up dev mode first because I'm going to convert the entire internal storage of the console over to dev mode storage. That way I could just use the external Seagate SSD for current gen games and move all of my emulation projects onto the internal SSD. It's actually not a method I recommend most people do because system updates can break it pretty heavily, so it's just not that reliable compared to standard USB, but this is more of an experimental project I'm trying out anyway, so if it breaks it, I don't really care too much because I can fix it if I want to, or just move back to USB. But to make the changes, just press start on your controller, manage dev storage, and then just convert the entire thing over to dev mode storage. And I like that it's just so broken right there. But anyway. Change and restart. Now to confirm that storage size has actually taken effect here. Turn my dang controller back on. Yep, there we go. All 337 gigs of space are good to go. Alright, now that that storage size has been changed, let's go ahead and install some programs. And done. Now just to convert these all over to game mode instead of app mode. So go into view details and change them all into game mode. And just going to do a quick restart. Now to access the internal drive, File Explorer, the Browse button here. And I'm going to add my development files key here to my computer. There we go. And then in my File Explorer, paste that address it gave me, and there we go. There is the internal drive of my Xbox. So I'm going to go ahead and start with RetroArch here. So I'm actually just going to copy everything straight over from my Xbox USB drive that I normally use, so just put it on the internal drive instead. So there we go. There's going to be all my config files and saves and everything that I'm going to want on here. Just need to get those transferred over and then configure RetroArch to go look for them. And now for games. Made a new games folder inside that RetroArch folder here that I could put my RetroArch specific games in. So just going to do that real quick. All right, and there's all my RetroArch games and settings and everything moved over to the internal drive. Moving on. Next up, let's do XBSX2, I believe. Nope, that's Dolphin. Xenia. That was RetroArch, darn it. Here we go. XBSX2. So just going to make a new folder in here, name it XBSX2. Inside, just going to make a BIOS folder. And a games folder. So for games, PS2 games, go on in. And for the BIOS, I just need to grab my PS2 BIOS files. There we go. And done for that one now too. So moving on to Flycast. Gonna do the exact same thing once again. Make a Flycast folder. And inside we can add in a BIOS folder. And a games folder. There we go. Flycast doesn't need a BIOS, but I like having it anyway, just for authenticity, because I prefer it. Anyway. And done. Now for Dolphin, just going to copy some games over here real quick. Dolphin's a little bit different in how you got to get it set up, but I still want to have the games in place for when I do so. Alright, so while that's finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and make a config file change that will allow me to use these games. So I already have a number of things that I want to use for this version of Dolphin, like my GameCube controller setup, my INI, and then the graphics plugins here. So I'm just going to copy these to my desktop temporarily. And inside the Dolphin INI folder, I want to add in paths to my specific games here. So I just need to add in this S drive path. So hopefully, if I change all these G instances to F and add in the file path here, it should work exactly as I want it to. There we go. And then to upload these into Dolphin, I just need to go back into the device portal real quick, File Explorer, Local App Data, Dolphin Emulator, Local State, Config folder. Going to delete the previous ones here. And now upload my new files. So let's see here. And there we go. My new files are now in place and hopefully will work exactly as I want them to. So to interrupt from the future, that file path actually doesn't work for Dolphin, so it's actually pretty simple to find the right one using the File Explorer on the Xbox device portal. So heading into the File Explorer, Development Files, Windows Apps, find your Dolphin folder. There we go. And then you can see your games folder in here. So it has the full path listed to that folder right here that you can then copy in to your ROM paths within the Dolphin INI. And then back inside the File Explorer, you can just go back into User Folders, Local App Data, Dolphin Emulator, Local State, Config, delete the old Dolphin INI that didn't work, choose your new one that will, and then just upload it. And there we go. And last but certainly not least, gonna get my Xbox 360 games copied over for Xenia. So here we go, there's the Xenia folder. And just gonna copy those 360 games over. And with that, I finally have everything transferred over for dev mode, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start messing around with it. So starting off with RetroArch, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this all configured up and change directories and stuff to fit my needs. So here we go. And just make sure I save that config file here. There we go. If you would like more in-depth setup instructions on how to set up RetroArch, you can always refer to my XboxSeriesEmulation tutorial playlist for all of the deets on how to do so. And now to confirm that Dolphin is using that INI that I set up on my computer to its fullest extent. And yes, it appears to be doing so. Here's my games list populating all of my different systems. And if I tell it to run a game, there we go, loaded up just fine. How about the in-game menu here? Let's check to make sure those settings are good. So enable VI skip is on, internal resolution is correct, aspect ratio is correct, and shader compilation is set how I have it. Perfect. And now to get Dreamcast set up. Again, for a more in-depth look, be sure to check out my emulation playlist for Xbox Series X and S. And there we go, Dreamcast now up and running. Now for XBSX2 here. And PS2 now ready to go. Alright, so that's dev mode all set up and ready to go. Very exciting. And now to complete setup on the retail side, I just need to get this SSD inserted because I already have games downloaded on it. And there we go, a good selection of Series X exclusive games to start with. Still need to go through this and get this kind of like travel converted. But hey, I can load it to a game and begin playing it, so that's all that really matters. But now to add the last piece of the puzzle that will make the whole thing actually portable, and that is the DepG screen here. So just gonna kind of slide that into place there. There we go. Get the other side attached. There we go. And now I just need to get the screws to lock that down. So where did I put those? They're right here. Good stuff. So just going to tilt this up onto its side real quick. There we go. So screws go in these two holes here. There we go. All right. There we go. And now I'll just attach the cables here. So we have a USB cord for power and then HDMI for video. There we go. All right, so this is now powered on. Let's give it a go here and enjoy the fruits of our labor, shall we? There we go. And there we go. So there is the retail side of things for all of my current gen games. And there we go. Very cool stuff being able to see the modern games on here. But, you know, whenever you have a hankering for retro, just swap on over to dev mode. Now, unfortunately, since I gave all of my space to dev mode, I can't use the activator app to go back and forth as easily, so I had to go into the hidden menu within the console info and the settings page to get back in here. But there it all is. It's all ready to go. Ooh, one thing we want to change real quick before we forget, though, otherwise Dolphin will not work, is to go into the settings and change this over to 1080p. Otherwise, Dolphin will just not work out at all. There we go. But now, when I go in here, load up Dolphin, and just begin playing any number of games. And I haven't let the menu cache all the way, so it's kind of angry at me. But there we go. Some GameCube games on the go anytime, anywhere. Or how about some good old PS2 with some Ace Combat 5 here? Like, it's so cool. Like, it's kind of an absurd project, but it's so cool all at the same time. Sadly, I haven't been able to get Xbox 360 to load yet. I can't get the file path to work right, and yeah, I'll have to keep tinkering with this one for the time being. And of course, some good old N64 gaming here. This is a little bit more difficult with only one hand though, so yeah. Still pretty cool to see, especially on the tiny screen since Angry Lion doesn't let you up-res it, so it really suits the tinier screen well for N64 gaming. Now, even as cool as a project like this is, it is pretty impractical when you really take into account all the price factors to get it up and running to this specification at least. I mean, you've got the Series S to begin with, which goes for about $250 often enough these days. But to add the screen to it, like this DepG screen is another $200. Not to mention the fact that the 1TB Seagate expansion is also another $200. So you're spending a good $600, $650 to get this type of a setup. And like the limitations and the hassle of getting dev mode emulation and Xbox emulation in general set up, I don't know. I don't know if I'd consider it really worth it. Like, even though the end results are good, like, you're going to be able to get the same results and better in something like a Steam Deck. So, like, again, as cool as this is, and as much as I love doing emulation on the Xbox, I don't find this setup particularly practical when things like this exist that could do everything this can plus more a lot easier and just less of a headache. So, I don't know. I just wanted to see if I could do it, if it was still possible, and it is. But again, I don't think it's really worth it. But, I mean, that's up for every individual person to decide for themselves. Just wanted to showcase that I have something like this, I guess. I don't know. Like, just kind of something random I decided to throw together today because why the heck not? So, I hope you all found it enjoyable. Hope you are... I don't know. I honestly have no idea anymore. Let's just go ahead and call it here. So, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. The portable Xbox emulation / gaming thing has been a fantastic success. But, yeah, anyway. Thank you so much again, as always, for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, thumbs down, depending on how much you like this video, as well as that sub button, notification bell, so you can see when new videos go live on the channel. Lots of content coming your way, so I'd love to have each and every one of you along for the ride. But for anyone interested in further helping support the channel, you can also check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Little goes a long way to keeping this place up and running and bringing this content directly to you. Big shout out to all of our current backers. Thank you so much for believing what we do here and helping us keep it going. And a big thank you again to DepG for sending this screen out my way so we could do silly projects like this with it. But anyway, until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you back next video.